Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bianca and today I'm going to be doing my top 21 books to read in 2021. So first, if you are not already a subscriber, please click that button down below and join the family. So this is just a list of the books that I want to get to this year. Most of them are books that I have physical copies of. A few of them I don't, but I am trying to get through my physical books before buying new ones. So the first book I have is one that just came out last year, These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is a gorgeous edition from Fairy Loot. It's got the rose gold letters on the front, beautiful pink sprayed edges. It is signed by the author and also has gorgeous art on the inside cover. This is a Romeo and Juliet retelling that takes place in 1920s Shanghai. It follows Juliet and Roma, who are members of rival gangs. They are also ex-lovers. So they went from a lovers to enemies and back to lovers relationship as the story progresses. So this is a fantasy. There is a curse going around that is killing members of these gangs, and to figure out what is happening, Roma and Juliet must work together. So this is one that I definitely want to get to. I'm gonna probably try and add it to my TBR for February, but we will see. Definitely want to pick this up. The next book on my TBR is one that I've heard a lot about. I've heard mixed reviews. It's not really a genre that I'm used to, but it is definitely one that I want to try and dip my toe into and see how I feel about it. This is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is Leigh Bardugo's first adult fiction, I believe, and it is a dark academia. It follows Alex Stern, who can see ghosts, I believe, and she is invited to attend Yale so she can use her power to help, I believe, the secret societies at Yale. So this is a dark academia book. There are a lot of trigger warnings, I believe, so I would definitely check those out before you pick this up. It's one I'm looking forward to. I'm also a little intimidated by it because it is definitely not something that I am familiar with, but I always want to try new things, so this is one of them. The next book on my top 21 is one that I have been trying to read for all of last year, I believe, and I've started it, I just haven't been able to get back into it. This is Wicked Fox by McCutcheon. This comes highly recommended by Books with Chloe. I believe this is one of her favorite books. It is definitely one that I wanted to pick up. I believe I got to page 119, chapter 13. I just haven't picked it up in months, so it's definitely one that I want to finish this year. This follows Mi Young, who is an 18-year-old gumiho, which is a nine-tailed fox that feeds off the lives of men. She meets Ji-yoon, and as she's trying to save his life, she loses her fox bead, or her gumiho soul, and she needs to replace her soul before she dies. So this is a romance. I don't know whether romance is the main plot of it, but this is the first book of, I believe it's just a duology with Vicious Spirits coming next. Another one that I want to pick up, but looking forward to this. It is really good. I don't know why I haven't gotten back to it. I enjoyed what I've read so far. The next book I have is another intimidating read. I've heard so many mixed reviews about this. Some people love it, some people don't. This is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I have read other things by V.E. Schwab, and she's an amazing author. I know this. I think it's just a lot of people love the book and were then disappointed by the ending, and I'm a very emotional person and very emotional reader. I'm a mood reader, so I don't know when I'll be able to pick this up, but it's definitely something that I want to pick up. This follows Addie, who makes a deal with the devil or a demon for immortality, but she makes this deal without reading the fine print. 5 minutes after she meets a person, they forget who she is, until one day she bumps into this guy and he remembers her. I am interested. I know this follows Addie through the years where she has her immortality until she runs into this guy, and I believe there are trigger warnings, but I've also heard amazing things about V.E. Schwab's writing in this book, and it is definitely one that I want to pick up. The next book on my list is another new release. This is from an author whose other books I definitely want to pick up. This is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. So this follows Amelia and her twin Vittoria. They are witches. Their family owns a restaurant. I've heard great things about the food description in this book. But unfortunately, one night Victoria doesn't come home, and a couple of days later, she is found brutally murdered. So Amelia goes out in search of revenge, and as she's searching for that revenge, she encounters one of the princes of hell, Wrath, who is also in search of this murderer that is murdering people. So this is a romance. I am definitely interested to pick it up. I've wanted to read something by Carrie Maniscalco. She's also the author of the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which are more books that I want to pick up. The next book on my TBR is another new release. This is My America by Kim Johnson. I haven't really heard much about this. It is new, relatively new, so it's not one I've seen a lot about. This follows Tracy Beaumont, who is writing to Innocent X, so they will help her father, who is on death row. He has 275 days left before he is set to be killed, and she wants them to help prove his innocence. As this is going on, her brother is then arrested and accused of murdering a white girl in their neighborhood, and she is forced to also try and prove his innocence. So I think this is a relevant and definitely going to be hard-hitting story that I definitely look forward to reading. This cover is beautiful, and I definitely wanted to pick up more books with POC main characters, so this is one that I'm really looking forward to. The next book I have is the first of a new series. This is Rebel Rose by Emma Thorold. This follows Belle after her happily ever after. So she is now the queen of France. She's now a queen in France, and she is facing war towards her country. So she has to live life after getting her prince and getting married. So I've always wondered what happens after the happily ever after, and we don't usually get a sequel to those movies. So this is definitely something I'm interested in. There are going to be more, and I'm curious to see what the next princess is. The next book I have, I've heard so much about, and it has definitely made me want to pick it up sooner than later. But this is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is said to be an Arthurian type book, and follows Brie Matthews after the death of her mother as she attends a pre-college program and tries to figure out more about her mother's life. And on the first night there, she witnesses a magical battle, something she should not have seen, and discovers that she has magical powers of her own. While I've heard a lot about this, I didn't want to know too much because I did want to go into this a little blind, but I know it's been highly recommended by Olivia Reads a Latte, and it's definitely one that really interested me, so I had to pick up a copy, and I definitely want to read it. The next book I have is the first book in what I believe is going to be a series. It's definitely has a second book coming out this year. This is Bonecryer's Moon by Catherine Purdy. I have heard about it on BookTube, but I don't really remember much about what was said. Don't know much about this. I do know it's an enemies to lovers, I believe, and follows Elise, who is a bone crier, and bone criers are charged with killing their true loves. This all which introduces Bastien, whose father was killed by a bone crier. So he is driven to, I think, take out the bone criers in revenge for what they did to his father. So it's definitely interesting. I know there's a second book coming out titled Bonecryer's Dawn this year, so I definitely want to pick this up before that comes out. This is a gorgeous owl crate edition with the beautiful dust jacket and gorgeous sprayed edges. I definitely hope Owl Crate comes out with a matching copy for Bonecryer's Dawn, but this is definitely one that I want to pick up this year. The next book I have is the first book in a trilogy. The next book on my list is part of a trilogy. The final book comes out this year. This is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Papretta. I have heard great things about this series. It is definitely something I want to pick up. I don't know too much. I know there are Phoenix Riders, and I know that it has to do with the relationship between two sisters that I think deteriorates to the point that they are on opposite sides of a war. And that is something that I'm really interested in, and I definitely want to see what becomes of their relationship. The final book is on my most anticipated releases for the year, so I will link that in the tag above, and I will also put a link down in the description below. The next book on my list is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I finished this book. I love this book. I will definitely be talking more about it in my January wrap-up. I just unfortunately had to refilm this video. So this follows Poppy, who is the maiden and is the final hope for a land or people, and in comes Hawk, who is originally a guard at the settlement that she is staying at. Unfortunately, Poppy discovers some secrets that were being held from her, and her life ends up turning completely on its head. So this is the first book in a series. I believe there are gonna be 4 books, but I know the third one is coming out in March, I believe. But it is definitely, I want to get my hands on that book because this series, I don't know. The next book on my list is, again, the first book of a series. I definitely want to pick up the rest of it if I can this year, but I definitely want to get to the first book. This is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I have heard amazing things about this book. It follows Stevie Bell, who is invited to attend the prestigious Ellingham Academy. And she's so interested in going because Ellingham Academy has a mysterious mystery attached to it. Unfortunately, the wife and daughter of Ellingham were kidnapped and they were murdered. Their bodies were never found. So there is a mystery that I believe spans all 3 books in the series. The next book on my list is, again, the first book in a series. The final book comes out this year. This is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This follows Simon Snow and Baz. They, I believe, start out as enemies and then begin a relationship. This is a fantasy. I very much look forward to picking this up. Simon Snow is the chosen one who feels like he never should have been chosen. So definitely look forward to seeing how this turns out. The next book on my list is by an author I've heard amazing things about. I believe this book has mixed reviews because of just the language in it. I believe the words are kind of lyrical, and the way the author writes the story doesn't sit well with some people. But this is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I definitely want to pick this up. I very much look forward to trying to see if I'm interested in it. This is a book about books, and I love books about books. So this follows Zachary, who I believe picks up a book at his campus library, and as he's reading it, realizes that it is telling a story about something that happened to him in his childhood. And he realizes that, I believe the book is about his life. And he goes on an adventure that will change the course of his life. There's romance in this, there is mystery. I very much look forward to seeing how I like it, and I definitely want to read something by Erin Morgenstern. So I very much look forward to this. The next book on my list is another book by Erin Morgenstern. This is The Night Circus. I don't know a lot about this book. I believe it has to do with 2 magicians, one female, one male, who are in a competition to see who is the best magician in this circus. I do believe it is a romance. It is something I very much look forward to picking up because it seems so interesting. I've heard amazing things, so it is definitely one that I want to get my hands on. The next book I have is another dark academia that I haven't heard too much about. I believe there are mixed reviews about this one as well. This is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This follows a girl who is a student at the Showman's Academy, and she is learning how to kill things. I think what really drew me to this was that one of the summaries or taglines that I heard was that you do not leave the Showmans. You either graduate or you die. So I really look forward to picking this up. This is only the first book. I don't know how many other books there are going to be. I don't know when the next one's coming out, but I'm looking forward to reading what this one is. The next book I have is a nonfiction book. This is White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. I'm just interested. I mean, I've seen a lot of people read it this year. This is definitely last year. This is definitely something I think it's just necessary. So I'm gonna pick this up. The next book on my list is To Kill a Kingdom. I unfortunately do not have a physical copy, so I forget the name of the author, but I know this is about mermaids or sirens, and one siren does something terribly wrong and she is forced to live on land, and the only way she can return home is if she returns with the heart of the prince that has killed the most sirens. So this is an enemies to lovers romance, I believe. I've heard amazing things about it. It is definitely one that I want to pick up, and I mean, it's got sirens in it. It seems interesting. The next two books on my list are, I believe, autobiographies or memoirs, but they're definitely by people that I admire, and I definitely want to pick these up. The first one is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I've heard amazing things. I've heard it's very inspirational. I've heard that it's just a great book. So I definitely want to pick this up this year. It's something I've been meaning to pick up since it came out and just have not done it. So hopefully by putting it on this list, I will get my hands on it finally. The next book is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I did read the first few pages of this. He has an amazing voice that just comes off the page, and I want to read it. So this, I believe, is about his presidency. So I definitely want to pick it up. It's a big book, but I'm sure it'll be interesting. The final book on my top 21 to read in 2021 is one that I have heard amazing things about. It is definitely one that I want to pick up. It's on my TBR for January, and this is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, part of the Crescent City series. First of all, this cover, I've heard amazing things about this. I know this follows Bryce, whose friends I think are killed by demons, and then she comes in contact with Hunt, who I think is a demon hunter, and it is a really, really slow burn romance. I'm not too big on slow burn romances, but I have heard such great things about this book that I kind of want to pick it up anyway. It's definitely on my TBR for this month, and I hope to pick it up really soon. So those are my top 21 books to read in 2021. I really hope I can get through all of them. I didn't do so well last year, but I've already read one, so hopefully I can keep that going. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments down below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! This is... Really? You have to do this now? Come on. Thank you. Hello. Your claws are in my leg. Excuse me. Excuse me. Ow, Blossom, claws, dude, claws.